What is up, everybody? I'm Get Flanked, and what you just saw on the screen there was me using Flores, the new attacker coming with Crimson Heist and Rainbow Six Siege Year 6 Season 1. Ubisoft was nice enough to give me early access to Flores, and I got to play him and test him out, and I'm going to be bringing everything I found out about him to you guys in this video. Now, before we get into breaking down Flores, I do want to let everybody know that if you want to stay up to date with all of the big news and changes that's coming with Year 6 Rainbow Six Siege, make sure you are subscribed to this channel with notifications on. I'll have another video coming later today, as well as a video coming tomorrow, going over the big changes and big news that's coming with Year 6 Season 1 and beyond. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. It's greatly appreciated. Okay, so Flores is actually pretty nuts, and I think his drone has a lot of potential to have a very big impact in this game. And I know a lot of people, their mind initially goes to a drone that can explode and getting kills with it, and I showed you that opening clip. It's certainly possible, okay? I'm not going to say that that's not going to happen, but I think the bigger impact that Flores is going to have is with area deniability, meaning going somewhere and then flushing an enemy out of a position, making them vulnerable, or for removing utility. And I want to go over his loadout, the basics, how to counter him, all of that stuff, but we're going to do it very quickly because the majority of this video is going to focus on real situations where I could see you using his drone to benefit you and your team and clearing utility and stuff like this. And just to give you a little taste of that right now, okay, pay attention in the background. What you're seeing here is me clearing 2 bandit charges off of the main wall on top floor canal by just going below, driving my drone below them and exploding it. I don't have to jump, I don't have to do anything tricky here, just drive my drone below it, and the explosion radius is big enough to clear the bandit charges off this wall. Hopefully that gets your mind thinking about how strong it can be in a lot of different situations, and I'm really excited to get into this gadget more. Okay, more situations like that in just a second. Let's quickly go over the basics now. First of all, Flores is a 2 armor, 2 speed attacker. His unique gadget is called the RCE Retero Charge. It's a remote control charge that anchors to a surface, becomes bulletproof, then detonates after a set time period. If you're familiar with the RCXD killstreak in Call of Duty games, this behaves very similar. Once you set it down, you only have 10 seconds to get it where you want and then detonate it. If that 10 seconds expires, it'll automatically hit that cooldown and then explode at the end of the 10 seconds. It's always moving forward, meaning you can't just sit with the drone idly. And that makes it a little bit more difficult to control and maneuver, but it's a good balancing mechanic with it, in all honesty. This gadget has the ability to jump similar to a normal drone, and you can stick it to surface by activating it mid-air. When you do so, it will stick to the nearest surface, enter that 3-second countdown, and then explode. As far as the explosive properties with this gadget, all of my testing indicates that it's exactly the same as a nitro cell. So that's probably the easiest way to look at it. It's a nitro cell attached to a drone. It does more damage the closer you get to the explosion. As far as lethality, it will put a Rook with Rook armor equipped in the down but not out state if they're close enough to the explosion. So it definitely has the potential to be lethal to every operator in the game. As of right now, Flores has 4 of these drones and no cooldown in between each one. As far as defenders who can counter this drone, obviously Mozzie can capture it. He cannot control it once he captures it. When he captures the drone, it just kind of destroys it without detonating it. Mute can jam the drone just like he would any other attacker drone. And the drone is also susceptible to all types of electrical damage. While the drone is driving around, any operator in the game can shoot it and destroy it like a normal drone. Once the drone has been activated and enters that 3-second countdown, it is bulletproof, but it can be destroyed with a nitro cell or impact grenades. This bulletproof state creates a pretty interesting interaction with Maestro Evil Eyes, in that a Maestro Evil Eye can zap the drone while it's moving just like it can any other drone, but once the drone enters that bulletproof state, it can no longer zap it. And of course, this drone, once this explodes, if the Evil Eye is in the area of effect, it will get rid of it. One additional detail I want to add regarding how this drone interacts with mute jammers, it has been said that the mute jammer area of effect is wider than the explosion area of effect, meaning that a mute jammer should be able to counter it in pretty much every scenario. But throughout my testing, I was able to explode the drone outside of the area of effect of the mute jammer and destroy the mute jammer. Now, if the mute jammer is on a sharp corner, this will not be possible. But in most situations where I had line of sight, I could get the drone close enough to destroy the mute jammer and get it out of the way without being completely jammed and unable to operate the drone anymore. Now, if your drone gets close enough to the mute jammer where it actually does jam it, Flores can pick the drone back up and add it back to his inventory, so long as he never activated it. If the drone gets jammed while it's in that activation period, it can no longer be picked up. It will just sit there. And then if the mute jammer gets destroyed, it will automatically explode. One final unique interaction that I wanted to go over is how it interacts with mirror windows. I was never able to drop a mirror window no matter how close I got it to the window. Keep in mind, I didn't actually stick it directly to the canister, so that might be a possibility. I'm not sure how realistic that is, but that's not something that I did test. But as far as detonating it below a mirror window, whether you're on the black window side or the side with the canister, I was not able to drop it. Okay, now let's quickly go over Flores' loadout, and then we'll get into some more of those in-game situations I referred to earlier. As far as his primary weapon options, two options there. The full auto version is the AR-33. This is the AR that Thatcher has available to him. Very usable AR. As far as the optic attachments, he's got that new red dot available. He has the traditional hollow and traditional reflex, as well as the 1.5 and 2 time scope. He has the normal barrel attachments, and then he also has the vertical grip and angle grip option. The other primary option for Flores is the SR25. This is a DMR that Blackbeard has available to him as well. And surprisingly, it's not nearly as effective when you don't have a bulletproof shield protecting your face. So I see most people going to that AR-33 for sure. As far as his secondary weapon options, he has the GSH-18. That's the only option he has in the secondary department. And then as far as the gadgets, he has the choice between flashes or Claymore. Claymore makes a little bit more sense to me because of the amount of time that you spend on drone as Flores. You can cover your own flank with that. So that's what I would see most people running. But the flashes, as we know in this game, can be useful as well. All right, so hopefully now you have a basic understanding of the gadget, how it works, his loadout, and just overall what Flores is looking like, okay? Let's start getting into those situations where I was able to scheme a little bit here and find how effective that he can be. And let me just say, first of all, that Flores, and just the fact that he has 6 drones, is really strong from the get-go. Now, granted, 4 of those drones are always moving, and he can't set them on a flank and keep it there as like a flank watch drone. But in a pinch, he can send one of those drones out just to get information. And maybe if he sees a deployable shield or something like that, he has the opportunity to explode it and clear that. But I mean, it kind of like a Yana in that if you find yourself without drones, you can send out Yana and her decoy to, go and scout the area out for a limited time. You can kind of use his drones like that. Not quite as effective. It doesn't cover as much ground as fast as what Yana's hologram does. But again, I want to reiterate that just having 6 drones where he can get that much information is strong by itself. The other strong aspect with these drones to keep in mind is that they do not interact with ADSs or Walleye magnets, meaning that you can get these drones in situations where you couldn't get a grenade or, an ash breaching round or a Zofia impact round or something like that. If you don't have the ability to clear that utility, you can send a drone in and that ADS or Walleye magnet is useless against it. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that I think the strongest aspect with Flores is going to be his ability to clear utility and to deny areas. And when you think about like the iconic anchor spots in this game, Flores has the ability to really challenge those locations. Check out this spot on Coastline. This is what I call pink couches here. This is a very typical spot to see somebody anchor and play, a smoke or something like that. And with Flores, you can go underneath, climb his drone up on the blue bar there in that area, detonate it, and kill or do extreme damage to whoever's behind there. And they do get an indicator noting that that drone is close to them. And when it starts to explode, they have the opportunity to move away, of course. But if you have somebody on big window or something there, you're going to force them into a tough position, meaning they either take the damage or potentially die from the drone, or they put themselves into the line of sight of somebody who might be holding that angle. And that's a very strong aspect with these drones. And there's a lot of possibilities in situations where you can use them like this. Sticking with Coastline, you can also use this to flush somebody out from behind Aqua Bar. Again, a typical spot where you might see an anchor play. You could send it down the drone hole on the roof and it'll come down. Keep in mind that an ADS or a Walleye magnet will have 0 effect on it. You can detonate it there. If you have somebody on Aqua balcony, then that person behind the aqua bar there is going to have a really tough decision again. Same concept over on Cool Vibe. You drop it down the hatch, it can flush somebody out of Cool Vibe stairs. Using the drone vertically now, let's check out how you can maybe do damage to somebody who's anchoring in kitchen. This is that typical kind of anchor spot near the rotate in kitchen. You get the drone up in VIP, you detonate it above, and it's going to flush the person out of there or do some damage. Whether the person's standing or crouch will depend on whether it kills them or not, but no matter what, it's putting a lot of pressure on the defense there, and I'm hoping this is starting to open your eyes to the possibilities with this drone. So we're on the newly reworked border now. Pay attention to this electro claw on the left side of this main armory wall. It's a tricky electro claw. This is where you put it if you're trying to make it hard for a Cali or something like that to remove this. And you can see with this drone driving it in the door, exploding it right below it, the explosion radius is big enough to clear it without having to jump or do anything special here at all. And that's really strong. Now let's move over to Clubhouse and look at how it can interact with an electrified hatch in kitchen. You might be familiar with the trick already where if you go into the kitchen, you shoot out like the top layer of the floor, you drop a grenade in here, you can get rid of the Cade Electro Claw on this hatch. The same thing works with his gadget. You shoot off the top layer, you throw the drone in there, you get it kind of settled, you detonate it, you can remove a Cade Electro Claw from this hatch. If the Electro Claw was on like the left side, I could also remove it by just detonating it on top of the floor without having to shoot out the top layer. So keep that in mind. But if it was in the perfectly middle, I needed to do it this way. Moving over to Canal now, and I showed you that clip earlier and how easy it was to remove those bandit charges off the wall by going below. Well, what if it's a Cade Electro Claw placed higher? With that, you simply need to jump up on a few obstacles here to get it closer, stick it to the wall, detonate it, and again, you remove that Electro Claw, no problem. All right, so now I want to theory craft a little bit, okay? Because I think this is very strong and it's something that I need you to follow me on, all right? Let's say that you're playing with a thermite in this situation on Canal and he's outside getting ready to place his charge. You detonate your drone below, you remove the Electro Claw, and then you say, okay, go ahead. And he places his charge on the wall. Well, if there's a Cade or a bandit for that matter that's trying to trick that, you can send another drone there, jump it up and explode it without having to have any fear of doing damage to that thermite charge and destroying that and doing friendly fire to that charge. Because you're destroying the gadgets from below and inside of the map, you don't have line of sight or any possibility of doing damage to the outside of that wall. And again, it's another strong aspect of this that you can really make it difficult for the enemy team to try to trick if you're smart with how you use your drones and can be quick with getting them into position. Okay, now let's move over to Villa, and you're going to see that I'm able to remove one of the bandit charges from the master bedroom wall by going down in kitchen and jumping up on these tables. Not as consistent here, and if it was a well-placed Electro Claw, I would probably not be able to do this, but again, if you notice they're playing a bandit instead of a Cade, this is a definite possibility. You can do the same thing over on Aviator. Again, because of the ceiling height in here, it's not as easy, it's not as dependable, but definitely possible to still remove bandit charges very easily. Now, I can see some people who might be looking at this and saying, well, I can do the same thing with Buck just by going below, shooting out the floor, and then manually shooting the Electro Claw off or the bandit charges or whatever. But keep in mind, with Flores, in many of these situations, you're able to do this from outside the map without putting yourself in harm's way, without having to do a room clear, really. And that's strong. That's going to save you time and maybe save a life or two in the process. Okay, so that's it as far as the situations I have to show you with Flores. Hopefully I've been able to kind of get your mind rolling and thinking about the different possibilities with this drone. At the end of the day, I do expect Flores to have an impact on the game almost immediately. The fact that you can clear utility with his gadget without having to worry about ADSs or wall-mine magnets, to me means that it's instantly going to be useful. And I'm excited to spend more time with Flores. Let me know what you think down below. Is Flores somebody that you're interested in? Can you see yourself playing him? If you enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like and subscribe, and I'll have more coming your way here soon.